Hello?
Hi, is this Tony?
Yes, it is. Is this Paul?
Yeah, it is.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Sorry I'm a bit late, but I almost forgot. But I saw you on the calendar and I thought, oh dear, yes, I must do that. So, where are you, Tony?
I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Northern California.
Right, I thought I recognised the ringtone. It's got a certain sound, California, isn't it? Well, I'm in London and it's freezing cold, so.
Well, it's actually cold and raining here today, so it's
Oh, is it?
It's a nice break from us.
No, it could never compete with London, though.
No, certainly not. Hey,
Anyway.
First off, congratulations on the new record, man. It really sounds great.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was something a bit different, I suppose. Sort of a celebration of a long career. It hasn't all been exciting, but at least it's been pretty consistent. So.
I understand. Hey, before we get into the record, I'd like to get your thoughts on the passing of Ian McLagan.
Run that by me one more time.
Yesterday Ian McLagan died.
Oh no, I didn't know about this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, he's a hero of mine.
I figured as much.
Oh God, was he still living in Austin?
Yeah, he was just going on a tour with Nick Lowe that was supposed to start yesterday.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's one of the greats, you know, he really is.
Well, I couldn't imagine that coming up as a guy playing keyboards in the 60s that, yeah, he must have been a big figure in your early days.
Yeah, we met up at various times, and he's always been really, really nice. He's lent me an organ when I didn't have any equipment, you know, and he was a really great guy. He even showed me some of his sounds, the Maggie May sound.
Oh, so cool.
And I've used it ever since.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Terrific guy, really, really. I'm really, really sad about that.
Yeah.
What was the cause? It wasn't like John Entwistle, was it?
No. He actually was at home and he had a massive stroke. He was around his family. It was short. He wasn't sick, so I think it's almost as good as that can get, I guess.
That's at our age, it's always just a stroke. You know that. I think that's Malcolm Young.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Young, he had a couple of strokes, and the singer from Nazareth, Dan, he had a couple of strokes, and he can't sing anymore.
Yeah.
But he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's change the subject, Tony.
Let's go on to more pleasant news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't know you hadn't heard.
No, I guess it wasn't important enough to get on the BBC News.
Yeah.
But
onward to more pleasant territory.
Okay, what you got for me?
My first question would be, how did you go about narrowing down 50 years of material down to just 12 songs for the record?
It was difficult because there's been so many songs in so many bands. Some of the material I already had recorded, and I kind of built around that, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
For instance, the Plastic Penny song from 1968, I kind of messed around with that over the years, and maybe that's 2 or 3 years ago I recorded that for no particular reason other than I just thought it was a great song. Nothing to do with UFO, but,
uh-huh.
you know. And so it was there, you know, and there was a few like that. that I just sort of idly dipped into the past and gone, that was a great tune, you know, I should have done it a different way. And, you know, as you get older and wiser, you look back on stuff that you've done and go, why did I do it like that? You know, I should have done like this, you know. And so I had a bit of that, and then I had to make some tracks very quickly. So that's it, really.
You know, going back to the plastic penny material, last night I was listening to some old tracks and I came across the rendition of Strawberry Fields, and I'd want to ask, you know, where did the influence come for such a heavy B3 sound at that time? That was fabulous.
Would have to be Vanilla Fudge. I think they were the only ones doing it then, you know. And I had a couple of guys in the band that were really into Cream and heavier bands, and we kind of, it was a long time ago, and we actually, Nigel Olsson, who's been with Elton now for donkey's years, Nigel was playing real heavy and loud then, you know, and I guess Vanilla Fudge, they were the guys.
Yeah, it was a great track, and
not John Lord. Every time anybody hears a Hammond organ, maybe not you, but people that I know, they go, oh, it sounds like John Lord, brilliant, you know. And I go, actually, no, he's not one of my favourites. I like Ian McLagan and Steve Winwood. You know?
Yeah, actually, your tone is a little cleaner than John's, I believe. Yeah, he never used a Leslie cabinet either. It was always like straight through a Marshall. Didn't like that sound at all. Right. Going on to the next kind of plateau for your career, you went from psychedelic rock with Plastic Penny to blues rock with Chicken Shack. Now,
everything to survive, Tony. You know, if you want to survive in this business, you've got to be flexible. And in all things, I have been that. I have put an apology in with the record that everything is it's very diverse. But you know, if you're going to survive that long, you've got to try everything. So, Chicken Shack was next up, and I learned a lot in that band, a hell of a lot. They were really good at what they did. Christine McVie came from. She left the band. And she was going to have a solo career, and I stepped into that, and they kind of moulded me. You know, I didn't really know that much about blues. I played jazz, but I didn't know how to make simple things work, and that's what I learned in that band. They were really, really good at what they did.
Now, well, I know you did a lot of touring in the States with Chicken Shack. What was it like touring in the States, you know, with a blues rock band at that time?
We only did one tour, Tony.
Yeah.
1970. Yeah, and it wasn't very successful. We tried to get away from the blues format because we were mates with Fleetwood Mac, and they were a blues band as well. And they started to move into a little bit different area, you know, stop trying to play 12-bar blues. And we made an album trying to do that, and basically fans didn't accept it. And so it all started to come to an end. It came unravelled. But, you know, these things happen. So I just moved into, which was like another very famous Savoy Brown. I did tour a lot with them. Constantly from 71 through 76.
I was going to ask about the song you did with Chicken Shack. How was it that you came to pick Reconsider Baby for the album?
You don't have the liner notes, do you? It explains in there that basically we just did covers in '69, covers of you know, of famous blues artists, and that was one of the first songs I recorded with them, and it's such a great recording, and Stan Webb was so good. It left an impression on me, and I thought I really like this song. I probably didn't even realise it was by Lowell Fulsom at that time, but that had to be the one, really. Yeah,
I love the tremolo guitar track on there. It kind Kind of takes it away from just being a totally straight blues and a little more interesting. Definitely great track.
Oh, I think you're talking about the first song, Unfinished Business.
Ah.
That's the one. Yeah. That one was actually a song on the last UFO record called The Fear. And I already had the song for it. And Phil said, no, I'm going to write my own thing for it. So I said, okay, fair enough. He used the rhythm track. Not that one, but the band made a rhythm track for it. And so I thought, well, maybe people would like to hear that, what I did with it. So that's Unfinished Business, I think you're talking about.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I may be a bit confused there. I haven't had a lot of time to spend with the record yet. Sorry.
No, sure, I understand. It's pretty new.
Not long after Savoy Brown, you found your way into UFO, and how did that come to pass?
We met up on the road. They were opening for Nazareth, and Savoy Brown had the special guest slot. And I got talking to Pete Way after the show, and he said, we're looking to make a change because our keyboard player, he doesn't double on guitar, and we were watching you, and we thought maybe you could fit in with us. And at that time, UFO seemed to be going places, and that kind of music, Kiss were popular, the kind of music was catching on to a great extent. So I thought, well, maybe I should give this a shot, and I did. So the rest is history, as they say.
Now, speaking of your guitar playing, your guitar playing is always very great. I always dig what you do. Now, how is it that you never inverted the strings for a left-handed setup, and how did that impact your learning and playing over the years?
It's Vinnie Moore, who I work with. He's left-handed, and he forced himself to play the correct way. And, well, of course, Paul McCartney. But I saw Jimi Hendrix jamming in the club, and he turned the guitar upside down like I do. There was some guy, Stratocaster, and he sat in with the band at the Speakeasy, and I thought, he's playing like me. So he could play both ways, the correct way and the wrong way. It's very much a blues thing. Otis Rush plays upside down, and Albert King plays upside down.
Right.
And another cat who I've seen on TV, and I went, he's playing like me. Doyle Brammer, was it? He was a friend of Stevie Ray Vaughan's. And he's a great guitar player. He's always on the Crossroads Festival. He plays upside down as well. So it does have a merit, I think. I wouldn't change it now. Sometimes, you get a complicated riff that Vinnie Moore might throw out, and you go, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this because it's round the wrong way. But I always find a way in the end. Never been defeated yet.
Yeah, I think it makes for a very distinctive sound of anybody who happens to take that up.
You hit the bright strings first, right? Mm-hmm. And it does have a very bright sound to it.
Now, your UFO track for the record, "Looking Out for Number One." I was wondering, how did the songwriting and demoing process work within the band back in those days? You don't have the liner notes. I did explain that, actually. That particular song, I'd actually had that kicking around for a while, and I played it to Kim Simmons in Somewhere Brown, and I thought he was just going to go, I'll get out of here. And he said, oh, this is a really interesting, perhaps we should write a rock opera together, and I went, yeah, right, and he said, but what are we, if not for our dreams? And I said, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Anyway, we never did. And then sort of like a year down the line, we were stuck for material. I showed it to Phil Mogg, and he said, oh, yeah, I'll have that, and came up with that song. Cool. another UFO track, not on the album, but the one that I wanted to ask you about is certainly, one of your signature tracks, and that's "Love to Love." I was wondering how that came together, because you're playing in that is so iconic.
Love to. Oh, you mean with UFO? I thought it's not on the album.
Right.
Yeah. How did that come about? It was Michael had a riff. That's all, and he said to me, "Can you play something on the keyboards that goes against this riff?" And he was right there in my face with his flying V, and I just started playing something on the piano. Yes, this is really good. we will keep this. And I just put the piano through a Leslie to give it kind of a more ethereal sound, and that's how that came about.
Cool. Now, sticking with Michael Schenker for a minute, I've known Michael for a long time. I guitar teched for him back in the '90s, and I love the guy. He's hilarious, and when you say he got in your face with a flying V, I can just picture that. It's pretty funny.
He's very enthusiastic. If he likes it, he's going to be all over you like a cheap suit. He's a great guy, terrific player, of course.
Oh yeah. Now,
both the guys that I used idolizing, Andy Simmons, and now I've got another cat I've found in Newcastle, Dave Byrne. He's playing on there as well. And it's like the battle of the Schenker clones, but they're both very good players in their own right.
Well, and that's my next question is the MSG song that you take up, "Never Trust a Stranger." I love the new arrangement of that, and I think it's such a classic track that I hear the new arrangement, and it makes me think of kind of Ronnie Wood, Ronnie Lane as far as the music goes. And I thought that was a wonderful twist.
Thank you. Yeah, it's got a bit of a Faces vibe about it, I suppose. I toured with him back in the day with Savoy Brown, back in '71, and that's how I got to know Mac pretty well. Mm-hmm. And they've been a big influence. Just love that band. Don't have bands like that anymore. Well, Black Crows maybe.
It's tough. Yes.
Yeah, not too many people doing that. We've got an English band actually called the Choir Boys, mm-hmm. And they play like the Faces. Great lead singer.
Yeah, I love that Frankie Miller album he just did.
Spike. Yeah. Oh, you've heard that? I still haven't heard that.
Oh, it's yeah.
Sure, it's terrific.
Great album.
Wow. Yeah, he's been talking about that for about 5 years.
Well, it turned out very well.
Cool. I'll have to get a copy of that, yeah.
If you could, tell me about the writing of Never Trust a Stranger.
That's a long time ago. You mean, what is it about?
Yeah, just what was the genesis of it?
I don't know. I sort of started out with the 2 chords thing, like the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. It got that bit, and then I thought it needs a modulation, and that one just came straight away. Modulated from B into a G sharp, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, that's like Sir Elton John says, if he doesn't get it in the first 10 minutes with one of Bernie's lyrics, he throws it out, which is kind of tough on Bernie, but yeah, it was pretty quick. It just came like that, and the lyrics came very easily too. I think they're the best songs, aren't they? The ones that quickly.
People seem to say that, yeah, and I think it bears.
Yeah, God only knows. Apparently, Brian Wilson said he wrote that in like 10 minutes. It's just like an incredible song. So yeah, it's a flash of inspiration.
A period of your history that I wasn't aware of, but for me, it's really maybe the high point of the album is the Terry Reid song. I'm a huge Terry Reid fan, and I was unaware that you had worked with him.
Oh, really? Oh, terrific. Yeah, it's a bit of a story. That song was never published.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to call Terry and ask him if I could use it, out of politeness. And we were on the phone for about 3 hours. We hadn't spoken since 1983, so we had quite a lot of catching up to do. But he's still out there, still singing.
Yeah, I saw him about 2 years ago in Los Angeles do a show, and he's just remarkable to me. He's completely stands by himself as an artist. I don't know that I could compare him to anyone.
Yeah, he talks a lot, but there's a lot of good stuff that he comes out with. I think he's act now. He tells stories about the old days and stuff. And if you want to listen, it's very entertaining because he is a funny guy. And certainly he was a big influence. And I tried to sing that song as close to his version of it as I could. And I think I pulled it off, actually.
I've got to tell you, both this album and Terms and Conditions, a big part of what drew me to them so strongly was your vocals. And to me, it's just like, it makes the record. It's classic British soul rock singing.
Totally. Yeah, a funny thing happened. My voice seems to improve as I got older. I don't know what that is. Probably giving up drugs and giving up smoking and not going to pubs anymore and taking more care of myself. My voice seems to have was rejuvenated. It's got kind of a huskiness about it now. I like the way it sounds. If I listen to myself singing back in the 60s, I have to turn it off. a very bad George Harrison,
Well, over the years, it's mellowed out nicely. I was wondering how much you had sang over the years.
Yeah, always back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm putting the band on the road next month. We're going out, but I still have to have a lead singer because although I do odd tracks myself, I'm just so busy up there I've got guitars going and the keyboards, the organ, and it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Do the lead singer as well. Ideally, I suppose I could get another keyboard player and stand there and sing and strum an acoustic guitar or something, but I think people want to hear me play as well, so, kind of have to work it out.
Sure, yeah. One thing I like so much is your phrasing, and I would have to ask, what it's been like for you to be beside a guy to me is one of the best singers in rock history is Phil Mogg.
Oh, Phil. I thought you were talking about Terry. Sorry. Yeah, he's got a real style of his own, isn't he? It's totally original. Actually, while you're there, we got a new UFO album coming in February.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best. It's the best one for years. We got a new producer, Chris Sungridis, and he's done a fantastic job on it. And Phil's done a fantastic job. And there's lots of keyboards on it because the fans have always been moaning. The previous producer we had, he didn't turn the keyboards up loud enough. So, that's coming in February. So keep your eyes open for it.
Yeah, I spoke with Vinny back in September when he was recording the solos at his place in Delaware, and he was very excited about it.
Yeah, Vinny did good too. He came up with some great ideas. Don't know why suddenly, but I think it was the new producer energized it. Anyway, I'll probably be talking to you about that album, so better shut up about that for now.
Good. While we're on the topic of lead guitarists, I have to ask where you found Dave Byrne. He's quite a find.
Yeah, I just said I used Andy Simmons, the guy that I've been working with for 20 years on and off. He's a bit of a recluse, great player. Dave, he came through a bass player and drummer that I work with. And he said, you should check this guy out from Newcastle. So, well, it's rather a long way from where I live, but and then when we got together and jammed, I said, oh yeah, this guy's, he's the one, you know, because he's not a recluse, he wants to play, so so I got the two of them on there. Take your pick.
Cool. Well, they both sound great, and they both serve you very well.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so.
You know, after 50 years in the business, how do you view the music business today, given all the changes that have happened in the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes, and some of them not for the good.
Right.
You know, you can make music at home more now, of course, but then everybody's doing it. And, you know, I still like the days when there were record companies and they opened a checkbook and wrote a nice fat check out for you. Oh, that's 3 years mortgage payments. But, yeah, so that from that respect, it's changed, maybe not for the better, but I think music's more accessible for kids now. You know, they can all make it themselves, and maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of good and bad. You know, artists have to start getting paid again. That's one thing for sure. But access is certainly better than it's ever been.
I wouldn't want to be starting out now, Tony. Let's put it that way. My daughter is 19, and she's got a really good voice. She sounds like Avril Lavigne, and but she doesn't know how to get started. You know, so I did some stuff for her, recorded some demos for her, and she sounded terrific. But she doesn't seem to know what to do with it. You know, because there's so much competition. Yeah,
it's so tough to find a path, I guess.
Yeah, and also she's terribly lazy. Girls of 19 tend to be. Oh, she's discovered boys now, so there's like no hope, you know.
Well, I think that's about all I have here. I'm not going to go back into too much old history or anything. I kind of want to stick with the record for now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we speak again on the UFO thing, you can delve back into the past, but maybe you'll be talking to Vinny about it.
Well, in any case, all continued success, sir. Have a great success with your tour coming up.
Thank you very much, Tony. What is it? A magazine or is it a radio station?
No, it's all internet. It's actually print stuff. I do my blog. It's all on the internet. I do fairly large pieces. You know, I'm kind of a dinosaur. I think that people still like to read about music, you know, so I write about music, and it's just kind of a sideline thing I do for the love of it. But it gets seen by 40 or 50,000 people a month. I have a good readership.
Wow. Well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Wish them all a Merry Christmas then.
I certainly will. Well.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I like talking about myself. You know, shouldn't say that really, but anyway, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Well, right on. Thanks so much. I'll try to catch up with you again around the time of the UFO album, because I'd like to hear some of the old stories. And also, thank your wife for me. She kind of set this up, and I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, I will do.
All right.
Okay, Tom. Take care, mate.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. Bye now.
Bye-bye.